Hey, what's going on, gamers? This is Doctor Redstone signing in to another episode on the channel. In today's episode, we're going to be going over this last weekend's raid, and I want to give a huge shout out to absolutely everybody over in Magna Equilibrium. Definitely was a phenomenal run over on the Android European server, so I want to give a huge shout out to absolutely everybody over there. Of course, got to give a big shout out to the homies over on Android Global, Loke City. Of course, you guys know, representing those guys, been over there for a little bit now. Big shout out to absolutely every single buddy over in there. So hopefully you guys had a phenomenal weekend. I know mine was definitely busy, hitting definitely on both accounts, but definitely was good overall. The last weekend of the month, so hopefully you guys were able to go ahead and grab your air armor. And we got water. Went ahead and just grabbed the water ring and amulet right before we started recording this one. Definitely been a little bit busy throughout the weekend and everything like that, so working on, got the setup all put back together, everything like that. So without further ado, let's jump into these leaderboards. Alrighty, gamers, and like I said, a huge shout out to the homies, the family, everybody over in Magna Equilibrium, coming in that numero uno spot with 59 billion points. Definitely was phenomenal, and of course a good time. This one right here, this run, ensure that we went ahead and grabbed the air. As you guys know, we grabbed the bling, so we definitely need to grab enough materials for the armor, so we definitely did that with this one and this T1. So big shout out to the family over there. We got Freeze coming at that number 2 spot, KOK King of Kings coming at that number 3 spot, man, back and forth with that 2 and 3. The Nameless Order coming at that number 4 spot. We got Powerpuff Girls rounding out that top 5 on that one. So big shout out to everybody over there. We got Sturm the Legend coming at that number 6, Petite France coming at number 7, White Wolves, man, it's not a leaderboard without those guys, War Bastads coming at number 9, and the Party House rounding out the top 10. So big shout out to each and every single one of those guys. Speaking of a big shout out, I want to give a huge shout out to the homie Ghoul. Loves pizza, man. I do too, you know, the taco always loves the pizza. Big shout out to the homie Ghoul, taking that numero uno spot overall for the entire weekend with 2.9 billion points. So big shout out to the homie right there. We got Sin Raul from King of Kings coming at that number 2 spot. We got Sexy Josh, big shout out to the homie coming at that number 3 spot. But Neck, big shout out to you, he was over in our run, so big shout out to you over in the top 4. And then we got Siggy Extreme, I believe, I think that's what that one is, coming in that number 5 spot with 1.8 billion points. Freaking crazy. These guys are all going freaking ham to make sure and get these kind of scores right here. Jumping on over here to the Android Global, we got Q Mob, big shout out to those guys, coming at that numero uno spot with 67 billion. XS Nation coming at that number 2 with 62 billion. We got Bloody Roses rounding out the top 3 with 57. Right behind him in the 4th spot, woo, that's close. Right behind him in the number 4 spot with 54 billion as well, we got Groundswell. In number 5, we got 6 Guns. Man, that is a pretty close score all the way around. I'm assuming a Q Mob wasn't always up there at that number 1 spot, and it was probably a little bit of a run for each and every single one of those guys. But we got some close scores all the way around. So we got KOT Vacation coming at that number 6 spot. Big shout out to them. We got Loke City, big shout out to the family, coming at that number 7 spot right there. So big shout out to every single one of those guys. The Terrible Bones at number 8, Supernatural coming at number 9, and we got the Bearded Ones coming in at that number 10 spot. Coming over here to the top 5 raiders, we got Mine coming at that number 1 with 2.4 billion. Big shout out to him. We got Spawn number 3 coming in at number 2. Loke City Poppy, big shout out to the homie. Casanova coming in at number 4, and Reaper representing that Loke City rounding out the top 5. So big shout out to the homies right there for absolutely killing and crushing it over this weekend. Those scores are definitely not easy to get and definitely take up a lot of time. Alrighty, gamers, and let's go ahead and jump on over here to the iOS global server. We got Touch Legacy yet again taking over that #1 spot right there with 114 billion freaking points. That is absolutely phenomenal. We had Deadpool's Unicorn with 97. Looks like they were given a little bit of a push over on the iOS global server, so big shout out to those guys. Loki Myth coming in at the #3 spot, Bandits Reborn at #4, Damned Chimp Nation rounding out that top 5 spot right there. So Touch Legacy definitely looks like they had a little bit of run for their money. I'm assuming Deadpool's Unicorn with that kind of score is not touch related. Jumping on over here to #6, we got Fight with Knowledge with 66 billion points. Star Alliance Effort rounding out #7. Rama #8. We Need Top 10 Help at #9. Definitely get a hold of those guys. Blood Oath Alliance rounding out the top 10. So I'm still curious to see how many of these guilds right here are all considered Touch Alliance, as it definitely seems as they are a majority over here on the iOS global server. Rounding out the top 5 raiders, we have Bishhosh coming at that #1 spot with 2.6. Definitely looks like he couldn't quite keep up with Ghoul, so big shout out to the homie. Loki at #2, Rax at 3. We got Touch representing in that #4 spot, and we got Jacob rounding out that top 5. Last but most certainly not least, we are over here on the iOS European server. I want to give a big shout out to the homie Drags as well as Jax for supplying the screenshots for iOS. We have the Barbarians in that #1 spot right there with 86 billion points. Big shout out to those guys. Elite Heroes coming in at #2, so I think this confirms that Elite Heroes and Barbarians are not the same. We got Memory and Thought. Big shout out to MT coming at that #3 spot with 52 billion. The Royal Legion coming at the #4. Big shout out to those guys. Phoenix Unleashed coming at the #5 spot. Taking a look over here at #6, we got Dauntless, Dutch Held at 1 at #7, Death Squad at 8, Bloodline at 9, and Phantom Troop coming in at that #10 spot, man. So definitely a big shout out to Barbarians. I absolutely love seeing these guys up here, as well as Elite Heroes and Memory and Thought. You guys know that those all considered big pushes over on the iOS European server, and definitely enjoy seeing them. Jumping on over here, we got Robert with 2.3 billion points coming at the #1 spot on iOS European server. Justin and Tried coming at that #2 spot. We got Martin at #3, Jonas and Tobias at #4, and Ruben representing that BRB rounding out the top 5. So definitely huge shout out to these guys, man. Absolutely phenomenal work, and it takes a long time. Definitely did a little bit of relief hitting. We're going to talk about that in a future video, but it ain't easy, and it takes all freaking weekend to get kind of scores like these. Yet again, guys, I want to give a big shout out to absolutely everybody in Loke, Sydney, and Magna Equilibrium, man. Big shout out to the homies over there, the friends, the family, everything like that. It was a phenomenal weekend. Definitely a weekend that we absolutely needed. Some things have changed quite a little bit. We're going to talk about that one probably throughout the week and everything like that, but I'm gonna kind of keep that one out of this episode. So big shout out to the friends, big shout out to the homies and the family. Definitely was able to go ahead and grab the air as soon as the event ended, and we got absolutely all of our materials. So that thing is crafting right now. We did just go ahead and grab the water ring and amulet, so definitely anticipate us grabbing that one, and definitely excited for the start of this fire month. This next season is going to be coming up. We're going to go ahead and grab our ultimate armor for this one, as well as the ring and amulet. So that's going to go ahead and put us with 2 ultimate armors, you know, back to back, which is definitely phenomenal. And I think I definitely have some big plans planned out for this this future season. So hopefully you guys definitely stay tuned. If you guys are enjoying these episodes, make sure to smash the like button. Definitely helps me out more than you know. If you guys have any questions or suggestions, make sure and put those ones down in the comments below. And as always, this is Dr. Redstone signing out. Thanks, YouTube.